3, 2, 1. Hey friends, Janky here, and welcome to another episode of Hanging with Janky. I gotta tell you guys, right now, everything in my room is charging because everything was dying. So I really hope that as I'm recording this, I don't trip some sort of breaker and shut literally everything down. It's also why my Christmas tree is not currently turned on. Anyway, you are not here to listen to my electrical problems. You are here to see what's up with gaming news. So, let's hop to it, peeps. So first up on the docket, let's talk about everyone's favorite malicious artificial intelligence, GLaDOS, and how she is an official employee of NASA now. And of course, when I say GLaDOS is now a NASA employee, I mean, in fact, it is not GLaDOS. Seriously, that's the acronym. NOTGLaDOS. It's not GLaDOS, guys. It's not. Wink. Wink, wink. The NASA official Talking General Leisure and Diversion Operational Server is back. Yes, that's right. So, 3 years ago, of course, when Portal was still super popular, NASA made a video called Fission versus Fusion, which features our favorite malicious artificial intelligence, teaching people about the difference between what is nuclear fission and what is nuclear fusion. 3 years later, she has made a return in a new educational video about what is the electromagnetic spectrum, singing a beautiful musical number. Of course, the best part of these educational videos is that NOTGLaDOS is voiced by original GLaDOS actress Ellen McLean. So, it's totally legit, delightful, and, you know, NOTGLaDOS is definitely not GLaDOS and definitely doesn't want to take over the world using the electromagnetic spectrum and uploading herself to the internet. Hey, did you know that Winter Overwatch is back? Well, it is, and it comes with a weirdly controversial skin, the Casual Hanzo. Controversial, you say? Well, yes, apparently it is a little. But first, let me give you the backstory behind this skin. So, last year, Overwatch made an online comic for Christmas, which featured all of the characters and the various things that they do around the holidays. Well, in one of the panels, it showed Hanzo when he was just out and about, and not in a traditional, his usual tunic thingy. The point is, he was wearing pants, a really dope looking hoodie, and had piercings through his nose and ears, and people were super hyped about it. And so everyone was waiting for this skin to eventually make it into Overwatch. And 1 year later, finally, after a lot of hype, it has. But it's not exactly what people were expecting. The differences are actually pretty minor between the skin we got and what we were expecting based on the comic. But there are some people out there who kind of wish they kind of stuck more with the comic, apparently. Now, it is true that I got this story off of Polygon, and no offense to Polygon, but, you know, they tend to kind of blow internet issues out of proportion. But apparently, there are some Hanzo fans who weren't entirely happy with the small cosmetic changes that Overwatch made to the skin, particularly the fact that they made Hanzo look ancient with a white beard, and also some minor things about the clothing choices. So basically, people are kind of hoping that they change it to look more like the comic one, because people were such huge fans of it and waiting for it. I think it looks nice as is. I think it could look better if they made it like the comic. And if you happen to be a Hanzo main, I would love to hear your opinion. But, you know, please don't make the chat, like, horrifying. Because, no offense, but that also happens with Hanzo mains a lot. So this is a fun, strange little story, which is someone has taken it upon themselves to beat Super Mario Odyssey without jumping once. So this story actually comes to us from the YouTuber known as GameChamp3000, who was digging into the code of Super Mario Odyssey to figure out what exactly the game counted as a jump. So the reason I really like this story is because it gives kind of an interesting look into the coding behind Super Mario Odyssey, and in turn, a look into the coding of games in general, which I think is super interesting. But this story comes to us from a YouTuber named GameChamp3000, who took it upon himself to finish Super Mario Odyssey without jumping once. Now what's interesting is this is apparently entirely possible, and what's even more interesting is that the game actually has a built-in jump counter in the code so you can see how many times you jump and what counts as a jump. And there's some interesting stuff going on. So if you'd like to hear more about what's going on with this, I would actually suggest looking at GameChamp3000's video because he's much better at explaining it. But basically, it's what the code considers to be a jump. Now, a lot of like classic jumps, triple jumps, double jumps, long jumps, all that stuff, of course the game counts that as jumps. But then there are certain things like wall jumps and pole jumps that apparently don't count at all. Where this actually gets interesting is that there are some things that count as jumps that are just bizarre. For example, GameChamp found that initiating a conversation with an NPC counted as a jump, possibly because you have to hit the A button to do it, which is also the jump button. In addition, there is one jump that is almost impossible to get around, which is in the opening cutscene, you have to hit A to wake up and start the game. And hitting A counts as a jump. But GameChamp found that bringing in a second player allows you to wake up without actually having to press the A button, and so he achieved a 0 jump playthrough of Super Mario Odyssey. Anyway, like I said, totally check out the video on your own. It's by GameChamp3000. I'll try to leave a link down in the description below, but I'm just fascinated by like the coding that goes in behind the scenes and like how game developers make a game work by like how they arrange the code and like what counts as what, and it's just interesting to me. And this is like it's a really cool look at the process, and I really like it. And speaking of Nintendo, they had a very exciting announcement this past week, which is they have sold over 10 million Switch units, which is really exciting. Okay, so it might not seem that exciting on the surface of it, but the reason that I bring it up is actually because of a comment left on last week's Hanging with Janky video by Happy Wolverine, where he talks about how Nintendo is a really great company, but people will still rag on them all the time for decisions that they think are weird, and they don't appreciate how much Nintendo has like been amazing at marketing and selling and adapting with the times. And so we're going to take a minute to talk about how awesome Nintendo is. And I'm a fanboy out because I love Nintendo. So I looked up this article earlier that I want to share with you guys. It's just kind of a list of statistics, which I know might seem kind of dry and boring, but I think it really puts into perspective how great of an achievement Nintendo has had in selling 10 million Switch units in 10 months. And I just think it's really cool. First of all, the Switch has almost outsold the Wii U. Like lifetime sales of the Wii U, because I think the Wii U only sold about 13 million, 14 million, and so the Switch is already doing far and away better than the Wii U has ever done. But in 10 months, for the PlayStation 3, in 10 months, the PlayStation 3 sold about 5.5 million units by 10 months in. So they're already doing almost double the business that PlayStation did on the PS3. Same thing with the Xbox. I mean, the Xbox 10 months in, the Xbox One, I should say, sold 7 million units. So the Switch is also doing better than the Xbox One did. Actually, Nintendo's original production idea, they thought that they would only sell 8 million Switch units in the first year, so they're already 2 million units over. Like, they haven't completed their fiscal year, and they're already doing 2 million units better than they thought they would. I know, it's dry, but I'm going to continue anyway. Other things going on, the Wii actually did better. It shipped 13 million units in its first 10 months, which is actually funny, because a lot of people will also shit on the Wii because everyone's just like, oh, it's a console for grandmas and all that other stuff. Like, that's the pop culture perception of the Wii. But the Wii in its first year actually outsold both the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. Like, in that first year, combined, it did better. It did better than both of those combined. And everyone's like, oh, the Wii. And I'm just like, but the Wii was awesome. Everybody was super into it. Anyway, I won't read the rest of the statistics. I don't want to like drag this on and get like super boring or anything on you. But basically, the only point that I want to make is I think that a lot of people like, I don't know. I don't want to say hate on Nintendo, but there's a lot of people that are just like, oh, Nintendo. They're just like an old company that's not hip to the jive or whatever. And I'm just like, guys, Nintendo is the hypest company, okay? They have so many amazing in-house titles. And the people who work on those titles are always incredibly hype and jazzed for the work that they do. Like, do you know how many times that Miyamoto has just shown up wearing like Legend of Zelda gear, or like Reggie has announced something crazy for Nintendo America? Like, they are some of the hypest video game CEOs on the face of the planet. Not to mention the fact that Nintendo started as a playing card company in the 1880s. In the 1889, it started as a playing card company, and today it is one of the big three video game distributors and publishers in the world. And not to mention the fact that like they figure out what works, and they figure out what people want. And yeah, it sometimes is messy and nasty, and sometimes they don't always do what we want, but they're still a great company, and they know how to adapt and change with the times. And for all the times that people have said, look, Nintendo's going the way of the dodo, they have always been able to make a comeback because they understand what they do wrong, and then they figure out how to fix it. And like, I love Nintendo. And so that was my rant about Nintendo and how we should be nicer to them, because I love them and I think that they do an amazing job. Okay, and because I feel like I should say something about it since I haven't really said anything about it, we're going to end the day by talking a bit about net neutrality. So, as I'm sure a lot of you know by now, the FCC recently voted to repeal some net neutrality rules that had been put in place back in 2015. And so now we're in the messy part of the process in which a lot of people are suing the FCC about these rules, and other people are saying, let's put some new rules in, and it's a big mess. And you know, the chairman of the FCC is kind of looking like a dick right now, because he put out a Christmas video about him just chilling with fidget spinners, and I think he was trying to make it seem like he was friendly, but it really came across as dickish, and I don't even think that video is available to see anymore, because I'm pretty sure like 50 copyright claims hit it. Yeah. Anyway, the point is that net neutrality is something that affects a lot of us here in the United States and, you know, around the world, and there are a lot of people here and everywhere who make their money through the internet, through YouTube or Twitch, or just through online business, and to have anything that feels kind of threatening to that can be scary, and it can be something that, you know, it's just, you want to be heard about it, and sometimes you feel like you aren't heard about it. Especially with this issue, I feel like just about everyone on the internet was very much against them repealing net neutrality, and well, not net neutrality, but the Title II rules. And you know, it's just it's a complex issue, and it's hard to talk about it short form like this in a little blurb on a news show, and I'm doing a terrible job of it. But the point is that I think that in the end, because we are all users of the internet, and because there are a lot more of us than there are ISPs and businessmen, and how I'm pretty sure if they really tried to do anything with the internet, like up charges or anything, they would get hit with a lot of lawsuits. In the end, I think we're all going to be okay, because in the end, we are going to make sure that rules are in place. They are going to allow us to continue doing what it is we do. And we won't let anything get in the way of that, because we are the people and we live on the internet, and they got another thing coming if they think that the younger generation will just passively let this go by. That didn't mean to sound like fighting words. It did. Didn't mean it to, but it did. The point is, we'll all be okay, guys. I believe in us and our ability to overcome. Anyway, long rambling speeches aside, it is time to end the week as we always do by thanking new subscribers to the channel. We have one this week, Hawaiian Gamer 420. Thank you so much for your nice Twitter messages, and also for subscribing to the channel. I very much appreciate you. I hope that you enjoy being a part of the Jank Squad, and thank you so much for being here. And of course, thank you to all 329 members of the Jank Squad. I really do appreciate you guys, and I want to be very clear about that, because last week I remember I read a comment on the video that was someone who said that they never felt more appreciated, and I'm pretty sure that he was being serious. But also I rewatched the video, and it seemed kind of disingenuous. So I just want to be really clear this week. I do really love you guys, and I just appreciate you guys watching, and, you know, whenever I'm on Twitch, you guys being in the chat, and whenever I'm here, you guys commenting, and just, you know, telling me how much you like the content, and, you know, just participating in the conversation. I really appreciate you all being here, and I think that all of you guys are really awesome and amazing people, and I think that you all do really awesome and amazing things in your lives. And if you feel like you haven't yet, then I believe that you will someday, because I just do. So thank you all so much for being here, and I love you all so much. Thank you. And that is all I have this week for Hanging with Janky. So thank you all again so much for joining. If you guys liked it, of course, feel free to leave a like down below. Comments, positive or negative, feel free to leave those below as well. But more than anything, I hope you have a lovely day, evening, or whenever you happen to be watching this. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next time, this is Janky Shenanigans, signing out.